It's a mad time to be alive right now, ladies and gentlemen. Kim Kardashian and her family have been a part of murder trials, robberies, politics, curses on every single basketball player they've hooked up with. But still, even if you could explain all that, it would still be a confusing story to explain, ladies and gentlemen. And listen, not to say that Kim Kardashian's a bad person. I'm sure she's very, I'm having trouble with this word, philanthropic, something like that. And I'm sure she's just as intelligent as Kanye says she is. But if you had to correlate the role that her and her family play and why they're the most famous people in the world, and then the things that they actually do for society, it's going to be the saddest thing you've ever realized since seeing WWE was actually fake. You know what I mean? The only role I could imagine the Kardashians actually playing, like, well for society, are like being the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for when the media is having a bad news day. So it's like, Khloe Kardashian and Kylie Jenner are pregnant. Boom! Mighty Morphin Power Rangers strike once again. And listen, this spoken word wasn't to dog on the Kardashians. You know, I follow them. Keep following them. Check out their Snapchat stories. Type in LB on every single Kylie Jenner post. I don't mind. I don't care. But I hope you finally realize where your attention has been for the past decade and how easy it is for the media to manipulate every single person we look up to, and how all these guys and all these celebrities have absolutely no impact on our day-to-day lives. Thank you very much.
All right, judges. Ready those scores for Abdul Hussein. 3, 2, 1. Whoa! This is a response. We've got a 4. We've got a 4.5. We've got a 3. Oh! Never mind. Never mind. It's a 5. You swayed them. And we've got a 4.5. Give applause to the poet, not the score.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
I hope you all realize how powerful you are. You just converted a 3 to a 5. So just remember that for next time. You have all the power. All right, next up we have Noor Bouanani with Nostalgia. Woo!
Hey, it's Throwback Thursday. Or is today Wednesday? Well, either way, only 90s kids will remember this. Sometimes, nostalgia just slaps me in the face. Like, I'll randomly smell the scent of an old perfume I used to like, or hear the tune of an old song playing in the distance. Then bam! I'll suddenly have a vivid yet pleasant flashback and begin looking back fondly on the past. Then I'll start to think, remember when everything was better? They don't make anything like they used to. Movies are just a hollow shell of what they used to be. Even Star Wars is slowly losing its glory, and I don't see another Godfather coming anytime soon. Don't even get me started on music. Music is just nowadays. Today, we consider mumble rap to be music. I mean, seriously, you call that music? The only music I want to listen to is the good stuff from before the 2010s. Destiny's Child, Nirvana, Chet Baker, or Elvis Presley. Just anything from back then. I mean, some stuff today is good, but you gotta dig deep into the garbage dump of products from our modern day. Even when you find something, nothing compares to the jams we blast from our past. Also, have you ever just sat in front of your computer as if it were a time machine ready to take you back to your childhood? Yes, that's right. Watching all those Kool-Aid Jammers commercials and Crush yogurt commercials can really take you back to better days, where the grass was greener and the air was fresher. I just turned 17 as of January, so I'm technically not a 90s kid, but I certainly still remember dial-up internet and how amazing that was with its beep, boop. I also remember the slap bracelets, Walkmans, the Fresh Prince, and much more. The 90s were all that and a bag of chips. So many things were just better back in the day. Phones weren't mind control devices. TV was only something you could use for a couple of hours. You could actually see kids outside. And best of all, there was no such thing as fidget spinners or the Emoji Movie. We had real, genuine quality, like Slinky, Silly Band, SpongeBob. Is that still going, or was it canceled? Well, either way, the good part of it died a long time ago, where the grass was greener and the air was fresher. Even the water tasted better back then. Or maybe I'm just not enjoying things like I used to because my head is so stuck in the illusion of the past. Nostalgia has been influencing us through the media these days with shows like Stranger Things and Everything Sucks coming out, reminding us of the pleasantries from our pasts. But we've got to enjoy what we have now. Back then, we didn't care about what we had years ago. We enjoyed the present, and someday you'll feel nostalgic about this moment. So go ahead and enjoy it while you can.
Wirecast.
While you do that, I'll be here watching the quality cartoons I watched many years ago.
All right, judges, up with the scores for Noor Buanani. 3, 2, 1. Woo. All right, we've got a 4. Sorry, you moved. I couldn't see it. We've got a 4. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? We've got a 4 and a 4 and a 4.5. Applaud the poet, not the score. Next up, we have Rowan Amara with Abandoned Home.
This is home. I laid my head beside my bed, trying to forget the day ahead. Mother, I'm scared. I heard our neighbors fled. I heard that blood was shed. This is my home. I ran towards the door, only finding it was still night. What are you doing there? My father cried. He grabbed me with all his might, his face pale and white. I've never seen stars like these coming down so fast and bright. But they weren't stars, were they? Drones, tear gas, ash, and fire. The screams are getting louder. My prayers are getting higher. I clapped my hands over my ears, hoping it would get quieter. The screams are getting louder, and it's only getting harder. You don't just take the lives of the innocent, destroying our children's innocence, and we try to appeal to your inner sense of what's right and wrong, and we realize there is none when we see which rights are being wronged. Like basic rights. Like the right to live, to be safe from bombings, from destructive napalm strikes, drones, war zones, all stalks, unleashed. My whole life, I've been told, that's just how it is in the Middle East. Like, that justifies anything. We've normalized everything, desensitized to living things, but what if it were you? Your father who you look up to, your mother who raised you, made you, hugged and kissed you, to see her be raped, then die amidst you. And you can't do anything to stop it. You have to understand that no one puts their children on a boat unless water is safer than land. Your family dies without proper medication. Banomia gets to their bones. Blood loss from mine zones. I'm sorry for the detailing, but not really. This is actually happening. Entire families have drowned in the Mediterranean, and we're simply watching them like an international stadium. No one wants to crawl underneath fences. No one wants to be beaten, pitied. No one chooses refugee camps or prison, but prison is safer than a city of fire. No one leaves home unless home told you, unless home chased you to shore, unless home told you to leave your clothes behind, quicken your legs, beg, forget your pride. Your survival is more important. No one leaves home until home is a sweaty voice in your ear saying, leave. Run away from me now. I don't know what I've become, but I know that anywhere is safer than here. Thank you.
All right, judges. 3, 2, 1, up with your scores. We have 5, 5, 5, and 5. Applaud the poet, not the score. Next up, we have Victor Sue with I Do the Spin.
I spin and spin and spin.
This is a demonstration
In the fabulous world of wonders, where I am free. Poof, a mountain that holds up the sky. whoosh, a river that's wide as the galaxy. And slap comes teacher's hand. But what actually hit me was the ruler that was in the teacher's hand. And I started spinning and spin and spin. Laughing and dancing without a worry in the world. But then comes the scorn. You ugly. You stupid. Man, how you gonna do me like that? I don't even know you. And then I started spinning again, and then again, and again. Wait, why am I back in China? So, can anybody tell me how your parents always find out how you, when you try to steal some money and your parents find out? Well, I still got an ass whooping from that. But then somebody, this daughter's father assumed me. I choked her by accident. What? I just pulled her hood by accident. Man, you want to try it again since I'm 6'2" now? Watch me crush like the ant you are. And I spin. And I spin. And I spin. And I spin. Watching my first love from far, while I hiding in my trove at home. While y'all holding your lit ass parties, I'm holding my LAN party. Hey, don't say it's lame. Don't say it's lame, because I have no shame. Don't call it sad. Don't call it sad. Oh, I guess it's kind of sad. But you see those people with those fake ass smiles? I raise the middle finger. And I once again spin, and then again, and again, and I
This is a
stop.
demonstration of Wirecast.
Opening my eyes, glancing left and right, looking through the endless crowd. The world doesn't change me. I change the world. But man, actually, the world changed me. I like the change. Thank you.
All right, judges. Scores 3, 2, 1. Up with those scores. Whoa. All right, we've got a 3.5, a 3.5, a 3.5, and a 4. Applaud the poet, not the score. Next up, we have Ingrid Basha with the definition.
I hope so. I think so. Maybe a little higher.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
You always joked about needing a thesaurus. You struggled trying to express yourself, often repeating your words, like putting your music on shuffle, but only ever playing one song. When someone asked you, "How's your day?" you wanted to say that it was good without actually saying that it was all right. For you, a word should not be substituted with other synonyms of itself. The definition of something was always so much more than its direct denotation. The sun wasn't just a star in our solar system. For you, it meant melted ice cream at the beach heat, strokes for no sleep, aloe vera on our sunburns, and an awful farmer's town that never goes away. Green wasn't just a secondary color. For you, it was a jersey of your favorite football team, an old bike that broke down, olives that you don't eat. Green was old text messages that you never had the heart to delete. For every person, a word meant something different. Behind every word are memories and the shape of a story, a smell, or the sound of a song. What was mother to you? For she wasn't just the woman who gave birth to you. She meant unconditional love, arguments that you can't win, back rubs for bad nights, but God, was she always right? For others, mother wasn't even a part of their dictionary. For others, that's why you never took words by their literal meanings. There's depth behind each definition, a sentiment so strong that your vocabulary was never vast enough. Hello wasn't just a greeting expecting a goodbye. For you, nothing was ever just good or great or God, that's cool. For you, it was always something more. That's why I asked, what do I mean to you? Wondered if I had a dead set definition. Would significant other suffice? It wasn't to set you up in a trap, it was simply curiosity and a cat. I was not just the identification of a first person's point of view. You told me that I was so much more. I was good morning texts and late night phone calls, a smile that your coworkers called you out for, long bus rides just to see me, a pure sense of feeling free. I was your home when home base was 4,000 miles away. I didn't know what to say. I wanted to tell you thank you without actually saying thanks, for what I felt was so much more than just gratitude. But my words were convicts held captive, barred by my mouth and my mind, so I stayed speechless. You always joked about needing a thesaurus. Well, I guess I needed one too.
All right, judges, up with those scores. 3, 2, 1, up. All right, we've got a 4.5, a 4.5, a 4, and we've got a 5. Give it up for the poet, not the score. So next up, we have Teresa Greasley and Rachel McCoy with To the Person Who Stopped Loving.
Demonstration of Wirecast.
They're not here. Never mind. Cool. Next we have Allison Young. Is Allison Young here? Cool. Allison Young with Her.
I'm sorry, I'm tall. I'm gonna need this up a little bit more. Also, I see a lot of my friends in the audience. If y'all don't snap, we're having a discussion later, just so you know. Okay. You see it, okay. All right. The concept of an open relationship was always hard for me to grasp. I wasn't repelled by people who chose this path, but I just couldn't fathom sharing someone that I loved with another person. For someone's hand to be caught in the wool of my favorite sweater while I'm wearing it, fingers twirling, intertwining, tearing it apart piece by piece, wasn't ideal. On the other hand, you can't claim feelings on experiences you haven't had, so when I experienced it, validated my feelings. I'd walk the vast halls of his house and mine, touching every crevice and crack, taking time to admire the years of memories we put into this space, each scratch and dent telling its own story. In the beginning, there was him and me. We would spend hours counting the freckles on each other's cheeks, laughing at our own stupidity, embracing each other. We were alone together. And yes, no one approved. He was a bad boy. Oof. But how can you refuse a bad boy who is a good man? When you're dealing with the devil, you're going to understand why hell is so hot. This is a demonstration of But as sunlight faded from the windows, stains came to the surface, and he began to ask about her. If I had met her before, could she spend some time with us? Okay, I wasn't opposed at first. I wanted to please him. She was innocent. He promised she wouldn't be a long-time commitment. Cool tongues like waterfalls, breath of the earth. She was so calming. She began to stay with us often. First, it was once a week, every weekend, every other day. Every day she was there and I wasn't there. I began to realize that kissing him tasted like kissing her. She covered his clothes in her scent, his time in her presence, and his room in her belongings. He wasn't even trying to hide that he preferred her over me. He never told me he loved me. But he told me how she was the air to his lungs and made life worth living. I would see her everywhere I went. I still can't escape her constant reminders. She liked to spend time with me, but not nearly as much as him. She's in every store, on every street corner, in each person's mouth, as if she was bound to this damned city. I swear Vancouver is obsessed with her. So I had to tell him. When he held my face in his calloused hands, holding my jaw like it meant something to him, I broke away and whispered, I want to kiss you, but not Mary Jane. When you lose someone you love to another person, you can wish that they will treat your loved one right, that they will fulfill their dreams, their hopes and wishes, and that you're better off without them. But when you lose someone you love to drugs, you know you can never compare. Unlike marijuana, my love was not destructive in disguise. It didn't fade after a couple hours, but he loved it more than me, and I will never know why. Kissing him was kissing a new person every time. He tasted of so many strangers, but the mouths that he was kissing belonged to empty bottles. The lingering, bitter taste of booze was the only sensation I got. It's really hard when someone smells like your ex. If they wear the same deodorant or cologne, perfume, whatever, when that person walks by, you're gonna get a whiff of it and, ooh, it takes you a second. But it's really hard when half of Vancouver smells like your sativa-smoking pothead ex-boyfriend. Marijuana and alcohol create this world of trances and make-believe. I just really wish they didn't entrance him into believing there were no flaws in that relationship.
All right, judges. 3, 2, 1. Up with your score. We have a 5. A 5. How do you feel about that, audience? A 5 and a 4.5. All right. And it's a 5. That's the power of believing in yourself. All right. Next up, we have Emily Sawchuk and Brielle Chan. Are they here? With The Knife I Never Had.
I think so. Am I tall enough for this? Yeah.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Don't miss this opportunity, they always told me. Don't regret not trying that. So I won't. I'm not going to regret doing what I want. They told me to make a living, but living is more than grasping at paychecks, like an addict craving their next fix. So I'll make a living by living moment to moment.
Use your intelligence to live a better life. Go to school, get a job, provide for your family. These rules etched in my mind like the 10 Commandments that Moses wrote, the hard stone idolized. I remember school like it was yesterday, staring at the paper and blank boxes, each an open window of opportunity for my future. I know what my parents want.
I know what my teachers want, but what about
what I want? I close my eyes, point, open them. The verdict is painfully obvious. My path's already been decided, laying out like a map
of endless possibilities, ready with roads jumping off the page. At the divergence of the paths in the yellow wood, I go left. There's no turning back now.
I chose the high road, using my brains, academics, and the A's. It felt like the perfect profession. My doubts about the right choice flew away.
I may have gone right, but was it right? Using my brain, I created words on pages that engaged my mind, engaged my focus like a jigsaw puzzle.
The last puzzle piece snapping into place. Helping others was a dream, their minds like tangled string I would unweave.
Unweave each plot, unweave each character, no matter where I was. The books I built kept me among the trees. I had my doubts over time. It should have been too good to be true, but I couldn't think about the years.
Years went by, their stories remained the same, one patient then the next, the same story always replayed.
For every adventure I write, the story is never the same, one adventure then the next.
Where will your story take you? How are you? Do you feel better today? In time, these questions lost their meaning. It was simply a routine, moving to a monotone rhythm.
I'm dancing, dabbling in delirium, daring to see what danger I've yet to slay. The fiction I fabricate is what fulfills me, imagery inspiring.
The bold image of my puzzle faded, leaving only cracks and broken pieces behind.
In a world full of corporate cities and bodies moving 100 miles a minute, being the architect of artistry is filling the cracks of 100 hearts.
Talking with others, listening, dealing with their doubts, I'm claiming to help them, but I'm no better myself. Spiraling down this rabbit hole into madness, stuck in this regretful routine, gifting my roots to society's garden and wilting away, but I'm doing more
for me. I'm free from rules, free from constraints. I know that every day is a gust of wind waiting to whoosh me into the blue and clouds.
My job keeps me living.
I don't care about deadlines, only the vibrant colors and swirling notes echoing in my skull.
The paychecks keep me moving through the day after day after day after day after day.
Comes night. The night is for stargazing. Though darkness envelops my eyes, I can see every light.
Every spark ablaze in my way.
Every star, because for every star illuminating the sky is a star walking the earth deserving
preventing happiness. It's my job to make people happy. I wish it was my job to be happy. I don't want to care about deadlines, only vibrant colors and swirling notes echoing in my skull.
And despite this fantasy, I know this version of my life is
only a delusion. I've been living for years without living for a second. I wish my life could be that way, making a living by living moment to moment.
Instead, I'm spiraling down this rabbit hole into madness, stuck in this regretful routine because I didn't miss that opportunity.
I'm making a living.
Just like they told me to.
But in the end, I know I'll be living when I don't have to force my smile.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Okay, cool. All right, so Let's look at judges for this score. 3, 2, 1. We have straight fives. 5, 5, 5, and 5. Well, that's a really great way. So we're going to wrap up here in the halfway point in this spoken word festival. Thank you for coming to the first part of the Slam Finals. Please exit respectfully for Block D.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast. 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 This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Who has been to a poetry slam before? Oh, you are versed. This is great. So everyone who just raised their hand, you know that a poetry slam is like a monster truck rally with poetry, right? Yeah? Yeah? Where essentially the poets on the stage are the monster trucks, and the cars that they crush are society's outdated ideas that poetry is boring and sucks. So that's not what we think at all. We think poetry's awesome, right? Yeah? Yeah? Well, if not, we're going to convince you. These are all stars on the stage behind me. In the last block, it was incredible. We had great energy in here, and I hope we all double it, maybe triple it now. So we're going to get started. The first thing that we're going to do is a land acknowledgement, though. So we/I, all of us here would like to acknowledge that School District 43 resides on the core territory of the Coquitlam First Nations people and lies within the shared traditional territories of the Tsleil-Waututh, the Katzie, the Musqueam, the Squamish, and the Stolo Nations. It's customary to acknowledge at the beginning of any gathering that we stand on, learn on Stolo traditional territory, and we thank the Stolo people for sharing this land with us. For those of you who are interested in becoming artists and being a part of BC culture and arts, land acknowledgements are part of our culture now, and as artists we try and be thoughtful of the space that we take up. So this is part of who we are. And now that we go on to audience, if you have all already been to the Poetry Slam before, you might know that there are two ways we want you to appreciate the poets. The first way is the noisiest way. It is the best way. It is as they're walking up to the mic, and after they're done their poem, you're going to get rowdy and amazing, and it's going to be like boisterous. It's the best. So I want you to envision that this is whatever just happened was the best poem you've ever heard, and I want you to react to it right now. Go. Yeah! Cool, cool, cool. And the second thing we're going to do is, if the poet is currently performing, we're going to have this super stealth way of showing them that we appreciate them. If they drop a good line that we love, we just wanted to make sure they know we're here, we're going to snap for them. Yeah, we're going to snap for them. That way that's a little trickle and a magical sound. Another really cool thing is if a poet loses their place in their poem, you can snap for that too, and that kind of is a reassurance for them. So snapping is your friend. All right, next up we're going to announce the judges. We got 4 judges down here in front of us. 4 for us. We have Sue Henderson. Applaud for Sue Henderson, the librarian. We have Principal John Bernot. We have Counselor Pam Ledoux. And we have an English teacher, Lori Leonard. Applaud for Lori Leonard. So the judges, we're really familiar by now. They know that their role is to hold their truth, to stay strong, to not be swayed by anything. They are fortresses of their knowledge. And audience, your job, I'm looking at all of you right now, is to sway them with everything you have in your core and your spirit. So if they put up a score you do not agree with, what do you think you're going to do about that? Higher. You're going to shout higher. You can also boo them. You are welcome to boo them. And I have heard that sometimes, if you are strong enough with your disagreement, it might sway them to change it. But also, judges, hold steady. You're good. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is a sacrificial poet. So as a bit of like a calibration for the judges, I happen to be the sacrificial poet today, so I'm going to read some poetry for you. It's going to be pretty quick because we're on a bit of a tight schedule. Who here likes haikus? Yeah, nobody ever really monster truck shouts for haikus because they're like kind of delicate and lovely. Okay, so I have 5 haikus for you here because I think they're wonderful. And we all know what the premise of a haiku is, right? You got 5, 7, 5, 17 syllables all together. I'm going to be moving through them relatively quickly, but also softly. So I'm going to get a haiku hush going on. Yeah? Let's get our like haiku state of mind all quiet. Cool. First one up. If we kiss and never tell the internet, did it really happen? Yeah, snaps are good for haikus.
This is a demonstration.
It was a
of
fall
Wirecast.
asleep next to me, unexpectedly kind of trust. A small prayer to those waiting for a love that was never shown to them. Most days are the anniversary of something small that you let go of.
This is a
Last
demonstration
one.
of Wirecast.
Honey, sugar, the spirit. There is plenty here without a shelf life. All right, so we have this delicate feeling of haiku in the room, but I want judges to be critical and honest, and I want them to put their scores up and judge the haikus that just happened in front of them. We're gonna give them a bit of time. Not really. 3, 2, 1. Judges, up with your scores for those haikus. All right, so we've got a 4. How do we feel about that 4? Reasonable, reasonable. We've got a 4.5. We don't really know how we feel about that. That's cool. 4.5. And we've got a 4. Okay, the rule is you got to applaud the poet and not the score. All right, so we're going to get going with this wonderful poetry slam. And first up, we have Vanessa Lazar, To My Father on Graduation Day.
This is a demonstration of
To my father
Wirecast.
on my graduation day. I have always been a lover of firsts. A child's first steps, the first snowfall of winter, my first kiss, the first day of high school. I remember it like it was yesterday. Awkward and uncertain, I walked through those doors and started the beginning to my end. I clung to anything I could find like a lifeboat, scared to sink in the sea of students. Everything seemed so big back then. For the next 4 years, I walked through those doors, and each time I did, I got a little taller, and the room seemed a little smaller, and at the end of the day, when I leave, I know I will come back. I'm happy in this routine, where I expect what is expected and get only what I already know until I find comfort in the predictable until the day when I leave those doors and I don't come back. There'll come a time in my life where I do something for the last time, even if I don't know it is the last time, and I hope I can enjoy it like the first time, because everything is better when you do it for the first time. When the end is so far away that you don't even think about it, you just enjoy it like a first, because you only get one first, and I wonder if everyone just lived like it was their first time living, would the good times ever really end? How frightening it is to have a time limit on happiness. There are a lot of things I've learned in high school that you wouldn't expect to learn in a high school. I wonder if these are things you would have taught me, if you would have paved this path and led me through the maze. 4 years I have been lost. I made it out in the end, but I am covered in bruises from hitting the walls. I have bruises from being stepped on in the halls, being walked over and ignored. High school taught me to put my head down when I walk. High school taught me to think before I talk. High school taught me that life doesn't stop for anybody. You taught me that life doesn't stop for anybody. I probably could have made more friends if I didn't spend so much time watching from the outside. I probably could have done better in my classes if I didn't spend so much time crying in the bathroom. But still, this is all I know. Between these doors in the back of a classroom or on the drama room floor, everything seems so big until it's not, and 4 years seems so long until it's not. Freedom is only weeks away when the sun comes out of hiding and I inhale enough sunshine to last me a lifetime, because summer doesn't last forever, and I can't tell whether my face is wet with tears or with sweat. All I know is that my skin is burning from the salt. When it starts to, how do I leave the people who've been in the lifeboat with me this whole time? When it starts to rain, I will not know because I am already drowning. How do I say goodbye? It would be the last time. To my father on my graduation day, I hope you are proud of me. I hope I can remember our first and not think about the last. To my father on my graduation day, thank you for teaching me this.
5s. 4 straight 5s for Vanessa. Next up, we have Julia Nick with Entropy.
We fight, we suffer, we lose. We think so desperately that we're right and fail all the same. The futility of mankind plagues my mind as I stare into darkness, wondering who I am, what I'm doing, where am I going. It's the bottomless part of every soul. When you lay awake at night, staring into darkness, dreaming with your eyes open about the bleak expanse of the universe we call home. The universe came in with a bang and it'll fade right back out again, consuming everything in the blink of an eye. We have no idea what power lies outside our bubble, how powerless we are against it, yet we pour our hearts out into a sky that could swallow us whole. At the end of the day, we can try our hardest and still come out at the bottom, only to fall.
Demonstration of Wirecast.
Empires will crumble for my knees in a place far from home, and I hear, please, I don't want to go. I think, how is this the only way? We fight our battles day by day to turn to dust and blow away.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
All right, judges, you must be lightning fast by now. 3, 2, 1, up with those scores. We've got a 4.5. How do we feel about that? We've got a 4.5, we've got a 5, and another 4.5. Applaud the poet, not the score. Next up, we have Jaden Linkletter with Silence.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Silence now haunts me because all of a sudden I am back in that room with you, and the silence was the one thing I could focus on. I tried to block out the heaviness of your breath on my neck, weighing me down to the point where I could not move. My hands clenched in fists, causing my fingernails to make moon-shaped scars in my palms that seemed to never leave me. Maybe you didn't realize you were hurting me. At least it's what I tell myself. I woke up that morning not knowing my whole life was about to change, but the moment my eyes met yours, they told me completely different.
Of Wirecast.
Maybe you are the reason when I look in the mirror, I don't see me, but a damaged piece of your property you took advantage of. It's easier for me to blame myself for what happened and the amount of drinks I let you pour down my throat, and as I tasted that burning liquid, I felt to take any good decision I could have made about that night away. Maybe it was the new top that I was wearing that showed my skin covered in goosebumps because I was just a scared little girl. No, stop. Why are you doing this? Was anything and everything I wanted to say, but the silence continued and those words never made it out of my mouth. I focused on the silence, which it felt like I had been doing for hours. Why didn't you realize you were hurting me and that none of this was okay? Why didn't I say this to you then? The silence continued. You told your friends I enjoyed it and said she seemed nervous, but I changed that, don't worry. I don't know why you did this to me, but what I do know is that January 1st, 2016 is a night I will never forget, and not for the loud noise or the celebration, but the silence, and what you took from 14-year-old me, and that will never be a maybe. Maybe if I hadn't gone to your party, I could have avoided all of this. Why am I now just a statistic, just a number on a page that people use to say it can happen to anyone? I went from saying, not me, to why me? I am left with these emotional scars that constantly remind me of when I was not only stripped of my clothes, but stripped of my happiness, my innocence, and my self-worth. May 23rd, 2018, 2 years, and the silence still haunts me. Thank you.
All right, judges, 3, 2, 1, up with those scores. Oh, we're not judging. No scores? Oh, okay. I couldn't tell if you were like refusing to judge and if I'm missing a subtle cue here. Oh, they're still deciding?
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
I can move on. All right, 4 5s. Whew. Okay, next up we have Keisha Nagor with Stubble.
I have a love and hate relationship with shaving. In 6th grade, you were my definition of life-saving. Our relationship was just beginning to take off, but then you decided my leg should be chopped off. Every time I'm with you, I end up leaving scarred. When did our relationship become this hard? You used to make me feel bold, giving me the courage to unfold unused clothes I otherwise would never dare to wear. The aftermath of our little date left me in a euphoric state. I depart feeling smooth. Ah, the feeling of youth.
This is a demonstration.
The moments we spend together are soothing and sweet. Being with you has always been a treat. You were my favorite piece of toiletry, but I guess I never truly had your loyalty. You stabbed me in the back, or rather, leg, bringing me to my knees to beg. As my blood oozes from your nick, the scent of iron makes me sick. Alongside the feeling of pain, you left me with nothing to gain. I cry for my mom in a manner that's not so calm, but it is of no use, because I'm a silly goose, ignorant and on the loose. With a razor in hand, did I really think it would go as planned? It seemed like the smallest pressure is a trigger for your ego to get bigger. After every encounter, I keep needing you because there's no easy way to bid adieu. My own enemy is my own anatomy. Each day, my hair grows into nothing but trouble. There's really never an end for this stubble. But I let you abuse me, never could be carefree. A slave to my shave is all I would ever be. And sure, I could leave you to rust in collecting dust, but without you, I would live life looking like a Yeti. Other girls are envious of my smooth legs. Well, jealousy is a disease, so get well soon, sweetie.
All right, judges. 3, 2, 1, up with those scores. We've got a 4.5, a 4.5, a 4.5, and a 5. Applaud the poet, not the score. Next up, we have Jarek Blackman with Scary Movies.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so I like to watch scary movies. And while seeing all these horny football players and cheerleaders get their head chopped off, the thought comes to me, how damn stupid do you have to be in order for your ass to get chopped up? First of all, why can nobody run 10 feet without doing a faceplant? And it's always some dumbass tripping over nothing. Like, what could you even trip over? A leaf? Some oxygen? And it's like they don't even know how to run. Bring your knees to your chest. Put those light-up Skechers to work. And the killer's just strolling along, slower than my damn grandma, and yet they still manage to cross paths. Then there's the idiot who always wants to split up the group. Let's see, we've got 1, 2, 5, 10, an army of us against one guy. So let's split up. No, he's just going to pick you off one by one, smartass. And why is it that in every single movie, they just shoot the guy once and assume he's dead? It's okay, I shot him, we're safe now. The beginning credits haven't even started. And, I mean, come on, if someone just killed all your friends and family, you're not shooting the leg once and hoping for the best. No, I know that when I'm done with them, their face is going to look like a deformed lasagna. And why do they never just try to fight back? Like, I get the girl from The Ring is creepy and all, but she's a little girl. Kick her ass. And I'm sorry, but Chucky is just the worst of them all. You can just punt him across the room. There, problem solved. But the thing I just really don't understand is why do people always stay in a house when it's very clearly haunted? I don't care if you have the best backyard in the neighborhood and you paid a fortune for it. If ghosts start playing with your electric bill and throw around your grandma's fine china, you should be looking for any reason to get out. And what is people's obsession with basements and attics, especially following noises into them? What do you expect to be waiting for you? Skittles? A puppy? But I guess if people weren't so damn stupid, the movie would be over in like 2 minutes. So the best advice is just use your head. Don't do drugs or have sex in a car because there always wants to die first. Just use common sense and you won't be the one we laugh at when your ass gets chainsawed.
All right, judges, up with those scores. 3, 2, 1. We've got a 4.5, a 4.5, a 4.5, and a 4. Applaud the poet, not the score. Next up, we have Izzy Trainer with My Serbian Mother.
Growing up raised by my grandpa not knowing English all that well, my sisters learned more Serbian than I did. And by the time I was born, my grandpa spoke English pretty fluently. Now, I was always jealous of all the Serbian that my sisters knew, so I begged them to teach me. And eventually they did. My sister kneels down beside me and says, "Hey, Isabel, you want to know what my favorite Serbian word is?" Douchebag. And I was so happy because now I could finally speak the language of my family. I could keep up with them, and I was so excited I decided to show off my skills the next day at brunch with my mother. In the midst of a normal conversation, my mom says, "Oh, Isabel, you're so silly." And I say, "Oh my God, this is my time to shine." I had learned her language and I was a true Serbian. I looked at her and I said, "Yeah, Mom? Well, you're a douchebag." After my mom realized I had absolutely no idea what I was talking about, she thought it was pretty funny. After my mom explained to me just exactly what this word meant, I spent the entire day crying. The entire day until that night my mom was fed up and she goes, "Isabel Marie, it's not that big of a deal. No one cares. I don't care. Your sisters don't care. The neighbors don't care." And when I kept crying, she decided to prove to me just how much the neighbors don't care. She led me out onto the deck and screamed to the neighborhood, "Hey, you want to know what my 7-year-old called me today?" And when that wasn't enough, she led me down the street, knocking on my nearest neighbor's door. And this old woman comes up, opens the door, and my mom goes, "Hey, Susan, Isabel called me a douchebag earlier." 10 years later, and sometimes I wonder to myself, why is it that all my friends are scared of my mother when they first meet her, and I remember that she is the way that she is? 10 years later, I wonder, why am I the way I am? And I look at my sisters and remember that they are the way that they are. And I know you're probably thinking, "Hey, does this girl have a dad?" Well, I do have a dad, in fact, and he was around for this entire story. But you might have noticed that I didn't mention him once, and it's because he never does anything insane. My dad is Irish. And sometimes I'm thinking, "Mom, why can't you be a little more Irish?" And sadly, over the years, I know it's my dad that's becoming a little more Serbian.
All right, judges. 3, 2, 1, up with those scores. We've got a 4.5, a 4.5, a 4.5, and a 5. Applaud the poet, not the score. Next up, we have Thomas Manship with Daydream.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Yeah. Okay. These tranquil words remain on the edge of a cliff, waiting to fall off my tongue like raindrops into a space of love and stars, and be heard from ear to ear, but instead are kept silent and restrained like a force that can't be seen. I detach my mind from the monotonous reality with my head in the palm of my hand, and where there will be no more spaces between my thoughts and fantasizing to distract from what's right in front of my inattentive face. It's almost indescribable, like a language I'm unfamiliar with, and locked up in my imagination with no key for entry, worried of who will see. The world around me changes into a holographic room. Visible light prisms spiral around me, and it's inescapable. I'm trapped in a ring of fire. I panic and try to burn it out, but I soon learn to feel the warmth of the golden flames, giving me the strength and heat I need to persevere through the day. I spend late nights driving on a road to endless wonders, thinking of the future or what could happen tomorrow, and all the possibilities that could come from it. I attach my emotions as if attaching a paperclip to my work, doing its job to hold it all together. My mind is all over the place, covering the ground with crimson blood, seeping into the cracks of the earth, wanting to start a new beginning. And look, I never said that any of this makes sense. I'll admit it, but it makes sense in my mind. You might think this is crazy, but it's my happy pill to transport my mind to a different universe so I don't have to deal with the crumbling problems of rocks and stones because, let's face it, I'm simply not prepared. I'm not prepared for adulthood or even the next day, week, or month, so I hide my emotions with a mask. But I don't have much time. I have to wake up and snap back into reality because dreaming can only take me so far. I wish I could stay in this made-up fantasy forever and relive all these beautiful thoughts. It's time to part for now, but don't worry. I'll see you again soon.
All right, judges. 3, 2, 1, up with those scores. We've got 4 4s. Applaud the poet, not the score. Next up, we have Devin Martinez with Open 3:16 p.m.
Oh, there's a lot more people here than I expected. Why? Just tell me why I can't have it all. It's like my existence is meaningless because I can't coexist with this personality that doesn't click with anyone or any clique. I live up to these stereotypes that I can't cry with guys because that's masculine suicide and I get labeled a bitch for showing my glitches and my mental stitches, but hey, it is what it is, right? Or wrong. See, I never really knew what was right and wrong with me. See, somehow I can't seem to pick and choose what I have to lose of mine due to my mind that isn't mine, but all signs are pointing down when I'm falling off this tightrope on the thinnest twine. Because there's always a thin line between helpful and replaceable once we're talking about Devin. My house is occupied, yet nobody's there to stay. Just to enjoy the fact that they have a place to kick their feet up, and I'm too nervous to speak up, but they're geeked up on knowing when their plane crashes, I'm somehow always cleared for landing. I give up and give to who? People who don't see what they've taken but come back 4 seconds but can't stay an extra 4 seconds? I mean, why not? It's an excellent amount of self-satisfaction you get when I'm breaking down like fractions, trying to build up logic to your actions, because when people need me, there's no hesitation to cash in. Funny, you're aware of my feelings for you, but you're aware of my faults that come with a little grain of salt in your mouth, so you head south and hope by then I'm worthy enough and my negativities dry out and die out like my heart is. You let me care and I shouldn't, but I couldn't dare leave you feeling as empty as you make me when you see how much you affect my psyche on a daily. Like rope, I've given so much room and length for you, but in return, I've given myself just enough to be hung from. Now I'm feeling dumb, but how can I feel anything when I'm so numb? Yet this feeling sticks to me like gum on the bottom of my shoe, and I just don't know what to do. Is my solution hidden within this noose that I construct to symbolize my self-destruction? Does me disappearing ever flood your mind, or is it so far behind because I push you first all the time? I feel inadequate. I'm obsolete to everyone. While I make sure everyone is at peace, I'm falling to pieces constantly, but nobody stops and sees that my mental state is just a formality. I create my own headaches and I burn my own bridges because of assumptions that plague me endlessly, but you don't see when I'm smiling and cracking jokes, that's just not me. When is it my turn to be asked how my day was? When are you going to check on me from time to time and make sure everything's all right, but oh wait, I always let it slide without a fight. The fact is, as common as speak is, people leave me speechless because they ignore my messages to speak less, but confess all their stress to power over my mess, and I'm mindless the way I always say yes, I'll listen. I'm hurting, I'm exhausted, and I'm always on edge. I called this poem Opened at 3:16 p.m. because that's what I did. I opened up to you. I opened up to so many of you, yet nothing was said. I now leave you with a query. Now that you're aware of my anguish, when my deepest problems have manifested to the top of my head, will I receive your help, or will you see me suffering and again decide to leave me on red? Thank you.
All right, judges, 3, 2, 1, up with those scores. We've got 1 4.5 and 3 5s. Applaud the applaud, not the score. Next up, we have Jaya Kaylee with The Book of Life.
If I could live anywhere in the world, it would be in between the pages of a thick novel. For a place to escape or a change in scenery. I wanted these things so badly that I made them into a reality. I have pages inside my mind, chapters in my heart, and prose filling my soul. I am on the road to becoming that strong protagonist, folded and tucked neatly inside the box of plot. And every room that I pass in the hotel of my life story is its own chapter. Room 1, chapter 1, before I even knew what the word one meant, when I knew 2 heads plus a few more that took care of me.
Room 5, chapter 4, when my little brother was born, and me, 3 at the time, never more thrilled to have more time to spend with another companion. Rooms 9 and 10, first weeks at school, meeting new friends, coloring pages, crayons, dragons, sunlight, rainbows. Our eyes were the portal to another dimension where grass could be blue and the sun could be pink. Rooms 16 to 18, grades 6, 7, and 8, when I had some great teachers and had my first crush and learned a bit about difficult people and went to the movies and the mall for the first time alone with friends. And then came high school, just bursting around the corner at 100 kilometers an hour, knocking me off my feet. We could leave the school grounds at lunch, and we only had 4 classes a day, and we got to create. I learned, but I also broke and learned a bit about hope and grew like a flower on a cloudy day with just specks of sunlight peeking through the gray, motivating me to move forward instead of sticking to the ground like a piece of hardened clay. And today, I know how to write a song, to create with my eyes and my fingers, to find the small specks of gold and hidden gems in this life. But my book isn't even halfway done yet. I'm not even halfway done learning. But the author of my book is not one person, but rather many faces and places and experiences that all affected me enough to shape me into who I am today. And I can't really do anything about it, but go about my day and appreciate those people who make me feel alive, songs that tug at my heart, and films that fill my eyes with crystal tears, and places that make me feel at home. And so I will dive into metaphors in music, poetry and prose, sunlight and flowers, colors and raindrops. I am going to enjoy this book as I would any other. Thank you.
All right, judges, lightning fast. 3, 2, 1, up with those scores. We've got all fives for that poem. Applaud the poet, not the score. Next up, we have Zane Osekri with time management.
Time is a currency. Its value decreases and increases. We must savor every moment like it is our last and not linger too much in the past. Time spent with our loved ones is time well spent. Sometimes it feels like we're living a life where tomorrow is guaranteed, where we go on about our lives with speed, plagued with emotions that we cannot vent. We eat, sleep, work, and repeat, with no window to practice one's passion. They say time is money, but unlike money, you cannot get back wasted times. And just like money, time can be stolen away from us. Our fear exacerbates over the fact that we're not getting any younger. We seem to think that the older we get, the less adventurous we should be. But what kind of life does one want where they play it safe and tread with caution? Since time is a currency, I must be extremely poor. Poor in the sense that my time is being spent on the unnecessary. But aren't we all guilty of this? Our educational system hasn't changed since the dawn of time. Now imagine going to school for over 7 hours a day, working hard and cramming all the information into our heads, only to go home to have about 2 or 3 hours of more work and only about 5 hours of good sleep. But wait, we got more. Boom, you got 2 tests, you got 3 essays, and 4 quizzes the following day. And then you have annoying family friends that are like, why are you always in your room and why don't you ever come out? Well, believe me, if coming out wasn't at the expense of my grades, I'll be the first one right out of the door. To add more to the fire, society and technology have managed to enslave us to their will. I mean, have you ever tried putting your phone down more than a day? In fact, more than an hour? Can you anymore? We are all at the mercy of our screens filled with bliss, consumed with all the cheese and not the broccoli, too busy seeking the approval of others as if it meant more to us. That we tend to forget whose opinions matter the most here. Our opinion is the only thing that matters. Do not let other persons' labeling define you as a person, because once you do, you yield all your power to them. Do not let your routinely schedule hold you back from trying new things and exploring the unknowns, because before you know it, we are 80 and 1 foot in the grave, staring into the abyss, Filled with regret over things that we did not do, wondering what went wrong and how we were so dull, we can go back and pay back to give more than we can take. Thank you.
Okay, judges, 3, 2, 1, up with those scores. We've got a 4.5, a 4, a 4.5, and a 4. Applaud the poet, not the score. Next up, we have Matthew Hetria with Learning to Embrace the Smoke.
The sun emerges from the horizon as yet another day starts. Breathe in, breathe out. You got this. Knowing that you have one quiz and one unit test, you start to stress. Last night, our parents had a fight if they should beat me or not because I was a troublesome 8-year-old. You fought for me. You didn't have the time to study. The dam you have built to keep your emotions out now start overflowing into your mind, drowning you in anxiety. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now the emotions inside evaporated, leaving only mindless thinking, but happy thoughts. Like a mirror, you fooled me with your physical appearance and your deceiving smile. You made me happy. Every day after school, you'd come home with a migraine saying that my brain needs a break. You'd rush to the backyard, and in 5 minutes, you're back ready to play with your younger brother because he absolutely adores you. But little did I know that his migraine was a craving, enslaving his mind from making the right decisions, from being a real person. Breathe in. Breathe out. Filling you with fake happiness, your opiate starts to work its magic. One more, you say, just one more. But how many more till you look at your life and you say, oh shit. Only then will you realize how much you missed. Only then will you realize amazing moments we had you forgot because you were high. Only then will you realize every moment we shared was a lie. Only then we will realize how much I love you. But right now, you have to go back to reality, or do you? One anxious mother, one intoxicated father, one brother wrapped in weed ignited in sin, one fake life that you chose to live, one cigarette and one lighter.
All right, judges, 3, 2, 1, up with those scores. We've got a 4.5, a 4.5, a 4.5, and a 4.5. Applaud the poet, not the score. Next up, we have Amia Thingy with Unspoken Word.
Maybe this is too late. We weren't meant to be, and maybe this isn't appropriate. The lines between us have blurred, so I hope in your heart you're not harboring hate. I know you would never hear these words, but I want you to know that I'm sorry. These are my apologies. You were just a stranger with a kind smile, the dimpled cheeks that melted my heart and drove me wild. I used to look at my eyes in the mirror and frown, but the moment I looked into yours, I fell in love with brown. Every freckle of light in your eyes crackled like the bonfire during a starry night. We were burning brighter than shooting stars. We made promises of tomorrow and forever, but still, we crashed into each other, perhaps too soon. You see, you never did anything wrong. I never expected you to stop your life for me. I wouldn't want you to. And even if I wanted you to stay, I knew you were destined to leave. But we were strong, right? Our love taught me never to be timid. Our spark was meant to grow and strengthen into flames by separations. We were supposed to be a radiant flame that could burn over oceans and cities that kept us apart, but maybe we just weren't as strong as we thought. Because your fire started to overwhelm, and gone was our one shot. Our flame flickered under the pressure of distance. I pushed you away, for I needed space, even though you were already thousands of miles afar. You gave me what I wanted, but at that moment I realized you were the only thing I needed.
When I left, I thought I would be stronger, but my tears have been drying for days. I knew it was a dangerous game to play with fire, but still, I wouldn't change a thing because you were my heart's desire. And etched under my skin, your blaze left blisters, tender burns leaving hidden scars. I wish that we could pull through, but maybe this fate was just overdue. So from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry. I know we said we'd be honest with each other, so this is the truth. You deserved a better lover. I'm sorry for our fierce fantasies of future that faltered, for not fighting for you harder, because now every word settles strangely, our silences are heavy. And I had all of you, and then some of you, but now none of you. So no more expectations and no falser hope, just one more promise so maybe my melancholy mind can cope. Promise me you'll keep the memory of me, leave our happy past be. And I'll keep you safe and carry you in my heart to home, for now and forever. Yours truly.
All right, judges, lightning fast. 3, 2, 1, up with those scores. We've got 4 4.5s. Applaud the poet, not the score. Next up, we have Matthew Freres with Anxious.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
I'm sure everyone here gets anxious, especially during a time like right now, nearing the end of the school year. Maybe you get anxious when you go out to meet new people, or maybe even when you go to play your favorite sport. Whatever it may be, we all get anxious. So hopefully I can relate with most of you on what I'm about to speak about. Just being anxious. So here we go. I woke up today, and what's the first thing that comes to mind? Well, a few things I probably should avoid talking about, but if we're keeping this PG, it's having to perform this frickin' spoken word. And as I'm up here speaking, I'll probably be thinking about how I need to stop shaking or how I need to breathe slower. Yup. This is pretty much my composure every day. I can't name many moments when I'm not overthinking every scenario that could possibly happen today, tomorrow, or even something that happened 12 years in the past. Like, come on, man, it's over. It's these thoughts that I wake up with which turn into my mentality throughout the whole day, and sometimes even for a few days. And I could go on for a millennium about how utterly debilitating it is to be constantly worried about a science test I took 4 months ago when it's time for me to present a rant. Like, here's an example. When I want to take a hot shower, I could be thinking about the imaginary beef I have 20 years from now with a 50-year-old Lindsay Lohan, and I'll still be buzzing of anxiety because she called me a raggedy monshishi.
Demonstration of Wirecast.
Or maybe let's give this one a try. A typical family dinner, and my mom asked me what I did today. Instead of me being able to talk about how I may have done a decent job on a test, it's like my whole hippocampus gets Thanos'd, and all I can muster up is, Mom, I don't feel so good. It's often quite the task for me to even get up from my desk to toss a granola bar wrapper into the trash without being alert of the fact that I'm walking on. Or am I? I've even been anxious of falling asleep, fearing I'll be anxious in my dream, rendering me anxious when I wake up, leading to the repeating relentless routine of being atrociously and abhorrently anxious. Anxiety has been my single greatest nemesis, like kryptonite to Superman, or Taco Bell to the digestive system. It really does blot out my mind and has morphed into some sort of James P. Sullivan I'm afraid I could never get rid of, not even in my dreams. Anxiety, for me, combines a plethora of natural feelings, like fear, insecurity, or stress, and bundles them all up into one cute, itty-bitty little Christmas cracker I get to pop open every morning. It wholly hand grenades all of my hopes and dreams. I wish I could help it, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't try. I wish I could sit back and breathe and crash. Oh, what I wouldn't do to be relaxed, but all I can do is act. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate being anxious. But I gotta live with it, so it's cool, I guess.
All right, judges. 3, 2, 1, up with those scores. We've got 4 5s. 4 fives. Applaud the poet, not the score. Next up, we have Shay Smeltzer with Long Distance Relationship.
Yeah, thanks. Long-distance relationships are the epitome of eternal struggle. Possibly the worst creation since fidget spinners, I'm trapped in the barrier of limited patience. Long-distance relationships are like a diet. The first week is fine, but you gotta end up cheating. And long-distance relationships are like babysitting. The kids are cute at first, but 10 minutes in you realize you're only there for the money. And they're like being glued to a jail cell with periodical visits every 3 months. See, the problem lays where the attachment is weakened. It's like licking an envelope so many times that it's too soggy to stick. I would know, because I myself am a victim of long-distance dysfunction. My boyfriend lives in Chilliwack, and believe it or not, there are other girls in Chilliwack. How rude. So after I go through everything to make this soggy relationship stick, I have to worry about competition too? Like, what is this, a track and field meet? Like, oh, you can run fast enough. Good thing there are like 257 other girls that can run just a little bit faster. Not to mention, FaceTime is the closest thing I have to actual face-to-face time with him. My parents think I'm like addicted to my phone at this point, but I'm just trying to maintain my mental stability. And if you think your relationship consists of sending memes, this is a whole new world. The most romantic gesture I get in a day is a video of the yodeling kid. How lovely. I think it's Laurel, he thinks it's Yanni, and I'm just trying to cope. It's like he's in a cell on Alcatraz and I'm on a cell just off the coast, and our only way to communicate is to choose ourselves, right? But it just so happens that my phone dies in 10 minutes. Gotta love Apple. Long-distance relationships are the epitome of eternal struggle, but I don't know what I'd do without mine.
All right, judges, 3, 2, 1, up with those scores. We've got 4 4.5s for that poem. Applaud the poet and not the score. Next up, we have Jeffrey Leong with Karma.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
We state ourselves as poet as we write our own insanity onto journals and set footprint on the sand of history. Our pens as machete, we cut through lies and write lines into people's eyes so others would understand the depth of imperfection that we see. High rises built upon dead bodies who dream that one day our lessons will be a moral of knowledge and reality. And I dream of one day dictators will dive in headfirst into karma and rewrite our journals as sorcery. We dream of fire burning the signs of segregation as the white glory suit turns to ashes, then to my grandmother's blood. We dream that the man in the shower will feel the gas seeping into his lungs and bang on the doors of the gas chamber while being suffocated by dust. We see men holding weapons above their heads with peace signs written on guns and paychecks stamped on dead bodies. We see Lexi pregnant at the age of 16 and children holding hands with a man with malicious mien. We see boyfriend leaving girlfriends while history that was private becomes deleted from our cell phones and our own Snapchat story. We see ourselves losing faith in humanity but still worthy enough to take photos of child pornography but not worthy enough for smiles and scenery. We deliver ourselves onto choices and consequences that creates catastrophe. Thinking karma is a noun, but a word of a man can swim further than a man can walk. I am a magician, pulling in all the curses and spells in my arms so the world would clash in havoc and dystopia. I'm a witch, a priest, a verb, a gangster, holding on labor money as you built the railroad to my queendom. My crown sits upon dead bodies of Victoria, Elizabeth, and Cleopatra. I'm the founder of the Wheel of Fortune and the doors to the underworld. Open the gates so my dominion will reign. I'm the statistics of hate crime and war crime as you sit and stare at the throne of ashtray, wishing that the seat is open. I am the son of motherhood and the daughter of the guillotine. Tell Massa I'm coming back. Tell him I'm a demented emotion that will haunt you as you walk on my mother's ashes. Tell him I'm the winds of pollution as your child inhales my dead body. Tell him I'm the sound of war cries as you spit your blood-filled sorrow onto war grounds. Tell him they have never been invincible. Tell him I have never been invisible. Tell him I'm the ghost of Abyssinia, Hiroshima, and Rwanda. Tell him I'm the praise of life and the gateway of disappointment, which is the greatest contradiction. Tell Massa I'm coming back. How to the king I'm coming back. How to the queen I'm coming back. Tell him I'm coming back with my mutilated body from the words of hates and knives that kill Mary Jane Kelly. I'm coming back with my broken limbs and insanity as you laugh at my dead body. Tell him I'm coming back with dead children from the east and dead parents from New Guinea. Tell him I'm coming back with a lynch that wraps around your neck like the barbed wire of prison yard. Tell him I'm coming back with bloodlust and war sounds as my dominion guard. I am back. I'm bloodthirsty and I'm angry. Tell Massa I'm coming back, Massa. How to the king I'm coming back. How to the queen I'm coming back. I'm coming back, Massa. I'm coming back, Massa. I'm coming back.
All right, judges. 3, 2, 1. Up with those scores for that poem. 4.5. All right, we've got 4.5s. Applaud the poet, not the score. And our final poet tonight is Carolina Masteller Sanchez with The Bow to My Violin.
Yes, I'll figure it out. Thank you so much.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
When I met you, I felt like a violin taking its first cautious breath. A bow as gentle as your touch grazed over my strings, and the violin was revolutionized. Subtle in its crescendo, it became something more beautiful than its soft mahogany wood, and the delicate sound of our melodic harmony filled the world. As the sun rose on this thriving world that with love was enwreathed, an exposition of inexplicable emotion was released. The colors of sound bowed to our raw earthly views, and like sheet music, you became my guide and my muse. We didn't need tuning for our strings, as we were symmetric for each other, though two different things. What was needed was grace and precision, like a celestial sky's sympathy, as we formed a relationship that always produced a symphony. Our Arcadian bond, like Icarus, floated on wings of perfection, undecided on what to do based on our emotion, and threatened by warnings that were all misunderstood. We crashed, clashing notes with rhythm and string with wood. Still, you appreciated me as a violin does its bow, and the universe kept playing our song, gripping its fingers and wouldn't let go. But after we rose too close to the sun, we were simply two broken pieces of a whole, and the melodies we played were filled with confusion, not heart nor soul. What we didn't know yet as the sun reached its greatest height was that our relationship was not only touched by light. The emotions that we hid from each other became our unknown enemies, and our harmonies became deafening penalties. Finally, one day, on our threatened world, we saw the sun go down. Understanding that we belonged to darkness, we drowned. The spine of the bow, crooked and damaged, the neck of the violin, broken and ravaged. The precision of our contact, string to bow, became too much to bear, producing not even a shriek, just suffocating air. Our hearts were silenced by overwhelming emotion, and it felt as though our bond was a torturing devotion. Though, knowing that untouched strings wither faster than a flower without water, we decided to fight for its last drink or song to honor. God's fingers still held tightly to the violin and its bow, to you and I. Yet when he stopped playing our fate, we saw that what we feared most was a lie. Destiny may meddle in our way, but ultimately we find our place. The silence of our love gave us the peace to realize that we both fit in just one case. You woke my soul, letting it move just as such, as if it was a sleeping beast turned to beauty by your touch. As both a bow and a violin, we merged over moments, creating a connection of lifelong love, never to be stolen. You helped me sing my song, and now it's time to switch our roles. You the violin and I the bow, we're interchanging souls. So darling, let's find your song, reading your story between each beat, living your life on the edge of your seat or the tips of your feet. Come out under the spotlight, and I promise you, I vow, the audience wants to hear you, and yes, love, you deserve to take your bow.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
All right, for the last time today, judges, 3, 2, 1, up with those scores. We've got a 4.5, a 4.5, a 4.5, and a 5. Applaud the poet, not the score. So some PSA announcements. We're going to be announcing the winners in Block A tomorrow. That's when you'll hear them. All English classes are to stay and clean up. But a final round of applause for all the poets today. This was one.